In the aftermath of any heinous crime like what happened in Paris last Friday, people get alarmed, and some of them rightly so. But we should not panic and pursue extreme measures to punish the refugees who are themselves victims of the brutal civil war in Syria, and they are escaping the extremism of ISIS. The background check on the refugees that we are going to bring, it has been an issue before even the Paris attack. Many experts have cited that the timeline that we have been provided to the end of the year, it's not realistic time frame to do all the proper background checks on these refugees. As we know, ISIS is trying to use this mechanism, the refugee ranks, to infiltrate and send some of their fighters back to Europe and other places. And there are many incidents in Europe. For example, some of the ISIS refugees were caught in refugee camps in Germany, but also 10,000 Syrian passports were confiscated on the Bulgarian border. So we have to be aware about these issues. But I'm confident that the government of Canada and our security organizations will be able, given the enough resources to and the time, to vent out all the legitimate refugees from the bogus ones. So we should be alarmed. We should be vigilant, but we should not panic.
Syrian refugees facing security concerns is just one of the issues that this country is trying to tackle with as you look at trying to execute this plan of 25,000 refugees by the end of the year. The other one, and it's interesting, you use the word resources. You have settlement services in which their budgets have been cut. We have a crisis in affordable housing in this city already. If you were to look at a scale of 1 to 10, how ready do you think we as a city are for those refugees?
To be very frank, Matt, I would say we are ready to categorize it or to put a scale on it from 1 to 10. We are somewhere around 3 to 4, maximum 4.
Really?
We are not ready, and the time that we have given to ourselves, it's not feasible, because the 25,000 refugees within 6 weeks or 7 weeks, it's a huge and daunting task to take over.
What are you most concerned about when it comes to the time?
There are two issues. This whole issue has two folds. One, identifying the refugees overseas, and that there are many problems with that. There are many difficulties. There are many challenges. And the second aspect is the resettling of these refugees in Canada. For example, some of the the tasks that we have to address overseas, and that is the UNHCR process and registering the refugees with the UNHCR. That's one issue. Finding the proper sponsors over here and overseas. The Central Processing Center in Winnipeg, that is a problem because it is delaying the refugee process and adding more time on it. Interviews of refugees, security clearances is also problematic, as we said earlier, and we have to be aware about these problems. And the other problems that we're facing overseas, for example, there are certain problems which is out of our control. For example, the exit visas from Turkey and Lebanon, they are completely out of control of the Canadian government and the Canadian organization.
You yourself are deeply involved in this. You've already brought, 100 Syrian families to Toronto?
Well, myself and some of the other organizations, the SA, the Sponsorship Agreement Holder, these are the private sponsorship agreement holders in Toronto. We have 2 organizations. We have brought over 100 families in the last year to Toronto.
What are they struggling with in their first months in this city, in a very different environment?
Okay. The first problem they are facing, it is accommodation, lodging.
Finding somewhere to live.
Finding someone to live. The second problem they are facing, finding work. Because we should remember that overwhelming majority of these refugees, they have lost everything. They come with 1 or 2 suitcases. They don't have anything to live on. They lost their money, their loved ones, etc. So that's a second problem that they are facing work. The third problem they are facing, it's a language barriers. Many of the older people, they do not speak English. The younger people, they are more up to their skills are not bad to communicate with in English. So the language barriers are the third aspect. The children education, that's another barrier. We have find difficulties because these refugees are coming when the school year already started. The schools are already full. The classes are full. They do not have a space. For example, we have a few children, young people. We had to go through 2 different boards, 5, 6 different schools until to find them a space in a school to put them in the school. And the ones that they are coming down the road, it will be more difficult, and they are much larger numbers.
And yet, despite all of those issues, there is a great outpouring of support for those refugees. Somebody was saying to me that perfection, when it comes to something like this, is the enemy of good. That we will do all right as a country in trying to welcome those. Is that what we should look at? That there is an opportunity here, and there's a willingness, and that those concerns, while they are valid, should be addressed in addition to the enthusiasm that's out there? That the enthusiasm may answer those questions?
Well, the positive aspect is that the Canadian people and the Canadian government, they stuck to their tradition of helping the underprivileged, the weak, and the undefended. And it is very noble task to do it, but we have to be realistic. Unless we, all of us, pull together, the private sector and the private sector and the public sector, we pull together the corporations, the NGOs, the resettlement group, the sponsorship groups. We pull together with the government, we will not be able to handle this task. What I would suggest that the federal government, they need to create a task force from the 3 different levels of government, the private sectors, where the private sector can play an important role. For example, these people, they need lots of stuff. They need beds, mattresses, household stuff, etc. The private sectors, they can contribute. Even the property owners, they can come with their own contribution to this noble idea by providing with discount rates, etc., for these refugees to find housing, etc., etc. So it is not only one sector who should be, and I will be realistic. The New Year timeline, it's not feasible. No one is going to blame the government if this whole project took extra month, and 2 or 3, because we know how daunting it is, and we should do it in much better organized way than we should do haphazard job and bring these refugees to our country and let them face new difficulties. And because we should not forget that these people are coming to new country, new culture, new background, and we should do our best to provide them the comfort they need.
Let's see whether the enthusiasm matches the challenges that you've laid out. We'll follow this over the course of this week in our series. Aris, thank you.